Hi, welcome to Volleyball 101. It's Andor, July, and I'm doing a video review for two players I coach, Ben and Branden. Ben Vaught, Branden Clemens. I've been coaching Branden for about 6 months now, Ben for about a year and a half. 21-year-old Ben, Branden's 23. Great players, most probably top players in their age group. And we've been working really hard on them getting better with the focus on this coaching philosophy of ours at Volleyball One called What Great Looks Like. And there's basically 8 parts to it. Number one, serve in and tough. Number two, no hitting areas. Number three, we pass the ball tight. Number four, hittable balls. Number five, take out the trash. Number six, yeah, look at the dance. Number six, relentless pursuit defense. Number seven, game plan offense. And number eight, game plan defense. Okay, so they're playing the McKibben brothers. Pretty good team. I think they finished in the top 10 last year as a team. I think they took as high as a fourth together. Good players, really, really good players. So it's going to be interesting watching how these young kids tackle a team like this. I think they had a really good day against these two. Ben and Branden, I think, beat them 4 sets in a row. So let's watch it. We're pretty excited afterwards. And, we've been having a lot of success. They've been doing a lot better. I've got some good video of them versus Ryan Daughtry and Billy Allen doing some of the same things, as well as Ed Ratledge and a few other top players. Now, you'll notice a few things right off the bat in terms of how we run and play the game. We do things very differently. So the first thing you're going to notice is something we call our game plan offense. And, my attitude, and I've put out some good articles around this, is if I'm going to go in and attack the opponent in indoor, you don't want to go in a straight line at your opponent. You're trying to attack around the opponent. Yet in beach volleyball, people are not doing this, especially when they're in system. So the very first thing you're going to notice is watch how we are perfectly in system and we basically attack the opponent where they're not. So you can see Ben is now running what we call a white set, and we basically have a number of different plays. I'll try and draw them for you. The first one is a green, that's a pin fast set. We have a go that's slightly inside, which basically sets up the hitter to crush cross court. We have a blue, which is basically an up and down middle set. We have a white, which is basically a back up and down set. We have a black, which is a fake white, and they come in for a blue. And then we have a red. So basically, these are the plays. Now, the big thing that we're trying to do is force the opponent not to be set up on us on defense and then get their brains moving. Okay. When we do this, a number of different advantages happen. Number one, the block is set up. Number two, the defense is moving. When the defense is moving, we tend to have better peripheral vision because the way our eyes see, they pick up movement better than they do stationary objects. Also, the defense is now set up and they can't make counter moves. One of the big things is when you start running an offense like this, the defense basically goes up and down and is very calm and regimented in their blocking or defense. Whereas if they're running a straight up and down play, they start to run threes and fours on you and they move the block a lot more. The other thing I really like about this is it really creates a hittable ball. Notice this beautiful hitting angle that is coming in. Now, as a lefty, that's the almost ideal angle we want to be approaching. If he hadn't run this play, he would almost have to kick out and go sideways and then come forward. And we're really trying to avoid this sideways kick out because what we find is often the ball lands on the player's opposite hitting shoulder. So this would be on Ben's right shoulder. Whereas in this play, we basically have a really nice approach and we can come in and hit this ball. Okay, so let's keep watching. And boom. Now notice the blocker too isn't as good. These guys are really good blockers in my opinion. But notice how the blocker isn't as set up. And the defender, because they had to move, they suffer from what we call response complexity. Okay, nice play. It was really, really nice. Okay, Ben, you can't miss this first serve. So we've been working on hard with our players on serving. So number one on our list in terms of what great looks like as we serve in and tough. So I already watch this a little bit. Got to make that first one. Now this team that we're playing here is a good team. So let's watch and you'll see and learn and pick up a lot of different stuff. Okay. Again, this was a big wake-up call for us. One of the things that we've been suffering with is hittable balls. Okay, and that's number 4 on our list. And what was often happening was when we got out of system, they were not setting the ball higher. Now, although this ball travels a little bit outside Ben's shoulder, I would like that ball to be more up and down so that Ben has a better approach angle. So this ball would ideally be set here for Ben. So he comes in at this angle. Although it's set outside to his right shoulder, he still has a nice high ball so he can really gather. You know, when you're this big now and these kids are getting athletic, you know, they can crush balls that are 5, 6, 7 feet off the net, no problem. Okay, very nice. That's a testament to all your work you've done with Eric. Eric is the trainer that I put Ben onto. He increased Ben's vertical by, I think, 10 or 11 inches in the last year. Okay, let's go back to that for a second. You'll notice we're actually blocking something a little bit different. Our call is what we call a seam block. Okay, and we don't block what most people call, we don't block line and angle. You know, I think the big change for me is the court has really changed in size. So we went from a 9 meter by 9 meter square court down to an 8 meter by 8 meter. And it doesn't sound like much, but when you really think about it, that is a 17%, almost 20% reduction in the court size. And, you know, the old days of blocking line or angle, I think, are over. I think great blockers are blocking line and angle or line and seam because of the smaller court. They don't have to be so focused on only blocking one area. So you can see this call. We actually have a seam call. Look at Ben's hands here behind his back. And you can see we've got 2 double fingers together. So that's a seam block. The difference is this was a big change that we've worked on with Branden over the last few weeks in terms of really being a lot more in the middle and forcing Hicks more on the defenders. In the old days, he'd be all the way down the line, all the way in the angle. So watch this play. Notice how much more he's in the middle. Even though he jumps back into the line, we basically are a lot more focused. See this? That's a great block. Nice move. Really, really good. Yeah, Brandon, blocking's gotten so much better in the last few weeks. It's ridiculous, buddy. Great job. And I'm also seeing your comfort level of blocking out of the middle more and more. Okay. Great serve. That was another thing we worked really hard with Brandon on was his serving. Basically, how can we play into his technique, something that worked for his technique, plus save the energy where you could just come into the court. When you play with these FIVB balls with this serve too, it's extremely effective. Okay, so you'll notice we've got 3 balls in a row. Now this is the one that I was really excited about. Notice this move here. Now, Brandon, you can see your left arm is still coming out a little bit and then straight. You see that? But I like where you finished. I wouldn't mind. Now, this is a seam block because you can see how he's here. Plus, he's got this. I wouldn't have minded him being a little bit more pushed over towards there. Okay. But notice where we're blocking. We're not standing in the line. We're blocking line and seam. And you can see by blocking like this, we've sealed off the line. Plus, we're blocking a lot of the angle. And the reason is there were some stats interestingly released recently by Reed Pretty. Great paper. I highly encourage you to pick it up if you can. On how many balls are dug off a hard-driven ball and actually converted. And from his statistics, it's only 10 to 15% of the balls. And as a result, we have a lot more of a philosophy of we're going to try and block the hard-driven ball, okay, and have our defender, because they're making more aggressive moves. Be more focused on digging shots. And we think if you're more focused on digging shots, you'll have a higher probability in terms of scoring on defense. So that's kind of our game plan defense that we're going for here. Ben, notice your hands are locked in. So we've been working with Ben on this now for a while. So on contact, I want those. So you start wide and then you what's saying. I think also I wanted you jumping forward, not sideways. You're slightly sideways. I don't mind based upon what you saw here. But look at your hands. Look where your hands got to. Every time you're getting that hands there. So I don't want the hands there, buddy. Okay, let's keep going. At least I think you're figuring it out. You're starting wide, but you're locking in and you're staying straight. So maybe start wider. Remember that video I did with Eric Fenoy, gold medalist, how he stands wide and high? Try that. Now, the defense is a little bit different for indoor versus beach. Beach, you're a lot wider and more bent with your arms depending on where you're standing. Now, this is very exciting because this was the big thing we've been working on in the last 2 weeks. We had a training and really focusing on hittable balls. One of the problems that Ben and Branden were having was they were coming in a straight line, or they're having to kick out and then come in a straight line. And for me, I think it's more efficient if we just, instead of doing that, just set the ball up and down and go here, or just run a back set. Okay, so that's something that's a little bit more of our coaching philosophy. And what it results in is a really nice up and down set that's easy to hit. Plus, it's easy to get your feet to. So notice how he sets Branden up and down set, which makes an easy shot. The other thing we want to try and do early, in my opinion, is all my hitters are trying to have them set up their cut shot early in the game. And you can see Branden did that here. By establishing his cut shot, basically it opens up all his other plays. I find like your cut shot is often your least most used shot, but by having that cut shot established early in the game, the players think you may do a cut shot, which then forces Hicks' law on them. And because they now think you may do a cut shot, line shot, and a hard-driven ball, their reaction time is slowed down. There's some great videos and notes on Hicks' law. I'll try and add that in the link on this post. Okay, great shot. Loved it. Beautiful. You can see these guys are starting to get frustrated, and a lot of it has to do with this offensive system that they run. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually get worked up and how it messes them up. So one of the strengths is like we really get them thinking with this offense. So let's see how this keeps going. It's a nice serve. Now again, he was probably blocking seam. Notice that what I love about that is notice where he is blocking. Like he's going after this ball. He's not blocking the line. Like they're both going after this ball. Branden, what I would like though is one thing, ideally try and keep this arm straight. As soon as you bend this arm like at an angle like that, it's going to get tooled. The inside arm I like. The inside arm was perfect. Okay. Branden, Ben, again, look at this garbage, buddy. Locked in, hands high. Try the Fenoy technique, buddy. Let's try and do that. So when I see you, let's try and do that next time. Great block. Great block, Branden. It's very, very exciting to see. It's a whole nother level from where we were. It's a very good hit. That's hard to stop. You got 2 touches on it though. Looks like he's got a little bit of a sore knee. Now you've seen our players on a white. I think you're now going to see some of their other stuff. I think they run a green at this stage. So this is our shoot outside set. Huh? Okay, so now you're going to see Branden run a white. Now, What most people would do in this situation is they would shoot out here and then come in at an angle like this. Okay. And I don't like that because you're basically going out to then come in an angle to hit the blocker. Why do that? Why not instead, in order to create a great angle, just go for a back set? Okay, and you'll notice that's what we do. What we then do by doing that is you force the blocker to move, which makes them easier to read. Plus, it makes it more difficult for them to make double moves and better moves and more aggressive moves. Plus, the defender is moving, which makes it easier for the blocker to read the defense. Also, response complexity kicks in. That's what happens when you're basically doing more than one thing at a time, and that makes the performance of the motor skill more difficult. And you'll notice all of that happen in this play. So because he's now blocking and moving as much, the block is not as effective. Oh, he makes a move, he misreads it. 2, the defender is moving across the court. So notice how the defender is moving. When he's moving that much, he often doesn't get as good a chance to read. Also, because the blocker is moving, the defender didn't get a chance to set up the block. And we get an open, easy free kill. Now, guys, on the women's game, I would be running the back set non-stop. Like, you watch how Carrie and April got lost beat in the Olympics. It was not because Carrie couldn't pass. It was because Carrie couldn't get any blocks against the 2 Brazilians. And that's all they did was run these back sets. Okay, Branden, this is an important one for me. You didn't get outside the court fast enough, and you didn't start outside in. So you went inside out, and notice how your body momentum is jumping out. So you didn't get, your hands were good, but because your momentum was bad, you basically got tooled. So next time, get to the pin and start outside in, and I would have your right leg off and then close with your right leg pushing into the middle. For some of you guys that are listening for this video for the first time, we've got a very specific language that we're teaching. So when I say all this stuff to them, they know what I'm talking about with like a step close blocking technique, and these are the different things that we've been working on. So I think this is kind of a fun play. Now you're going to start to see how it plays in action and how it gets these people so frustrated. So you've just seen a white. Let's see what happens now. Okay, so now you're going to see a green. Now this is a shoot set to the pin. Okay. Now notice the blocker is ready for a blue. So they're expecting that ball to come up and down inside the middle here because that's what Ben's been running. Okay, so the blocker is set up, the defender set up. Instead, we run a shoot set to the pin. The blocker has to take a step across, and now the blocker has terrible technique in my opinion. Notice how the blocker's arms are like this. Now, if you ever played at UCLA, and I did and won a championship there, L skates would have shot you for that because you basically, that's terrible technique. That's when you get tooled. Also, notice what happens. The defender doesn't get as much time to set up. So notice how the defender doesn't get as much time. Response complexity is happening for the defender. And as a result, they don't get to read. And also, you don't have that situation where the blocker, if they had started straight, they would have been here and making that move, basically taking more court. So notice how the play totally messed them up. Great job. That was really, really great. That was a green. Now, a go would be a slightly inside lob version of that. It's kind of like a banana set inside, like a 32, where basically Ben would then come in at a sharper angle, and because the ball's lobbed inside, he would just crush an angle. Now, notice these guys are getting frustrated. Okay, like this is the power of this stuff. Like, look at them. They're like angry and frustrated because of this. Like, they're both like a little disgruntled right now. I don't know if this is game 3 or 4. This may have been game 4. So they're getting frustrated at what we're doing to them. So let's watch what happens. Boom. Kill. Okay. That was a tough serve, but it wasn't a crazy serve. Let's watch the next one. And this is what I need more of, this consistency, especially on that first serve of the game. You just need a ball with topspin. That was great. So 2 aces in a row. Bang. That is really, really nice. So again, that goes back to our coaching philosophy. We are big believers in serving. Like indoor or beach, we serve in and tough. When we run our indoor camps, I find that 30% of the kids learn how to jump float serve within 5 minutes for the girls' camps. On the 3 aces in a row. Wow. On the boys' camps, it's the same thing. But again, look, these guys got frustrated. The McKibben brothers got frustrated because of this game plan offense. So they're struggling to get rhythm right now. No, I don't know them, so, but that's what I'm presuming. Either that or they're kind of jealous of Branden and Ben's dance moves. Okay, let's watch. Now, Ben, this serve you can't miss, in my opinion. You got to make that serve. That's the one where the pressure's on them, so you got to make that serve, buddy. Okay, that's the player that we were looking at. Hittable ball, yes. Left, right, left. So, Branden, what happened was this ball wasn't set high enough for him. So everything was great except for the height of the ball. Also, this is a really good block, I have to say. I love this move by the McKibben. They do a fake with the defender, and then they do a step with the right, and then he jumps into the angle. So I'll try and show this to you in slow motion. Does the step, then comes back, takes a big jump cross, and a really, really good read. Now notice all of that happened because they could set up on defense. So because they were set up on defense, because Ben came at them in a straight line, they could do all this fancy stuff. They make a big move and jumping and all kinds of stuff. But if you run a game plan offense, what we work on, none of this stuff is possible because they're just trying to catch up to where we're running our attack from. Whereas if the defense is set up, now they're like set up for you. So when you bring your offense at them, they're like set up with all their counter moves. Okay. That's why I'm a big fan of game plan offense in my running my plays. Branden, hittable balls. So again, that location was great, but the height was not great. So that's about getting it higher. Remember, if we're not sure, just get them a little higher. Ben's like pounding on people now. Okay, this was really exciting for me because notice the pass location. So because of all the work we've done on running back sets and shoots outside and everything else, watch what happened. He's focused on the hitter, seeing where the hitter is, creates a free open net, hit on 2 for Branden. Very, very cool. Nice hit. You can see the seam block call. Great serve. Again, big change in Branden's blocking. Notice in the old days, Branden would be standing in the line and open up the entire seam. Notice how he's now lined up so much more better with him. And notice how much more court he's taking, which basically forced the McKibben brothers to go around him. And he misses a shot. Big change. Also, it's Hicks' law kicking in. So in the old days, if the block is standing in the line, it becomes very obvious where to go. Whereas if the block is in the seam, it's not as obvious where to go. So their reaction time is slowed down. And if their reaction time slows down, their shots are less crisp. So that's why we block the seam block. Nice block. Great play. Yeah, the serve of Branden has really become effective. It's going to be fun this year. Next year, when he's playing FIVB, this ball with the FIVB ball. Oh, another great serve. Nice. Oh, hit the net. I love that reading. Love the reading. Great job. That's that side spin, eh? Ben, you see that side spin, how he hits that ball? I really like that. Great serve. That's 4 aces for Ben. I think 2 for Branden at this stage. So we're really playing into our coaching philosophy, which is we serve in and tough. Both these guys have really worked hard in their serving. That's a great serve. That's what I want. Another great block. Nice. Branden, I'm seeing your success through the middle in terms of your offense. I mean, in terms of your defense. I know why you want to go more through the middle now. It's very good in terms of how you're reading, but you hit the net again. These guys are frustrated too, which is funny. Oh well, tough game to play and get better at. Now notice they're blocking on one block. They got an easy serve. Now again, there we were in the green. So notice, actually that's a go almost. So notice how we lob Branden inside. Now Branden just crushes ball's angle. So basically now, because we're now going, the blocker has to respect the pin hit, and we then shoot this ball slightly inside, and they can't get there in time. Look at that move he made. That's a really, really good block. But he still can't get there. That's an amazing block. But look at that angle. So we set it up with our set in the play. Okay. And kill. Another one. That's really, 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 really nice. Wow. Again, game plan offense. That's a green or a go. Look more like a go to me. That's also something that we do based upon Branden's strength and how he approaches and how he hits. That's something that he has a natural swing that plays into that shot. Okay, I think I'm going to end it there then. Yeah. So if you're interested in working with us at Volleyball One-on-One, we run a program where we travel to your club and help you establish a beach volleyball program. It's something where we come in over a weekend and we basically train all your coaches on good technique and coaching philosophies and how to run a practice and what drills to run and how to do these different things around volleyball coaching for beach specifically. So we'll help you establish your beach club. The coaching philosophies and principles also tie in very nicely to indoor, so they will really complement your indoor teams and your indoor coaching philosophies. We run a complimentary coaches clinic, and it's a great way to build a beach volleyball program at your club. And then the other thing that we do is we run indoor volleyball summer camps for high schools. So if you're a high school and you want to add some of our coaching philosophies, like what great looks like, to your program, we have our own version of what great looks like for indoor volleyball as it relates to how we play, our team culture, and our coaching standard. All very, very powerful, awesome stuff. And one of the things that we do when we travel to these different high school locations is we run a complimentary coaches clinic in the community. So we bring the coaches to you to train you and your staff and the other coaches in the community. Okay, again, all that stuff's on volleyball1on1.com. If you have questions, let me know. I'm always looking for feedback. I'm excited. Ben and Branden are going to be rock stars. They're young, and they're getting better, and we're getting better with them. So we're excited about this. If you want to learn more about what great looks like, message us, and I'll try and post some more stuff around this. Okay, and anyone that tries to dance better than Ben and sends me a video of it, I will send you a gift. Okay, see more videos, go to volleyball1on1.com.